Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to my Japan reading vlog. I'm so excited to be here. We've just arrived here in our Airbnb and that is after a 10-hour flight and a 2-hour bus ride. So I'm going to talk to you and then go straight to bed because I'm exhausted. But you can see behind me that I brought my copy of Skyward by Brandon Sanderson and I plan on reading that physically while I'm here. I don't know how much reading time I'm going to get, but we'll see. Obviously, I will show you what happens. I'm a little bit puffed because there are 2 flights of stairs, so this place we're staying at is lovely and cozy and it's 3 stories high and the bed is really cool. It's on the floor behind me. Also, I saw before I even flew here that Topple readathon is happening. So if you don't know what Topple readathon is, it's basically a 5 challenge readathon that happens about twice a year over 2-week periods of time. It basically forces you to read books that are over 500 pages that are on your TBR pile. So obviously because I'm traveling, I probably won't be able to do it physically, but I've got audiobooks on my list. So the challenges are basically like buddy read a book, read at least 1 book over 500 pages, read an adult book. You can't read bind-ups of books, and I posted my TBR on my blog and I'll link that below if you're interested. But one of the books that I wanted to read was actually a bind-up of fantasy short stories. So I'm going to count it on my TBR, but it won't really count in the overall readathon, if that makes sense. So my TBR for the readathon, which starts on November 16 and I believe ends early December, I can't remember the date, I've been on a plane for so long. So my TBR for the readathon, which is starting on November 16th, it was going to be Rogues, edited by George R.R. Martin, and I talked about it in a book haul recently. This holds a lot of fantasy short stories by some authors that I really like, and I forgot that I couldn't do bind-ups, so that was going to go on the back burner, and first instead I was going to read Malice by John Gwynne. I don't really know a lot about this except that the Piera raves about it, and because of her I now want to read it. I think it's a adult fantasy quartet, I believe, and it has giants and sword fighting and action and stuff, and that's kind of what I'm drawn to, so I feel like I'm going to love it. And then in addition to those 2 books, if I can even finish them, because I don't know what my ratio of audiobook listening and traveling will be like. But anyway, the next one that I wanted to hopefully get onto is the 2nd book after the Black Prism in the Lightbringer series. I can't remember the title. I think it's The Blinding Knife. So I've got that one to listen to as well. And actually, now that I think about it, Skyward also counts towards Topple because it is 501 pages. Love adding in a Sanderson book whenever I can. But anyway, this will do for my update now. It is about 9 PM on November 15th and Japan is 2 hours behind Melbourne where I flew from, so it feels like it's almost midnight right now and that's why I'm so tired. Hopefully I'll adjust to the timing. It'll probably take a few days, but I'm so excited to show you all the footage. I'm going to be doing a reading vlog obviously, and I'm also going to be doing travel vlogs. I'm not sure if it will be one or if it will be broken up into city because we're going to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Hiroshima, and then a whole bunch of others, and then we're snowboarding as well. So I'll show you what I can. I'll break it up however I feel is right when I've got all the footage together. But anyway, thank you for watching so far and I'll catch you in my next update. Bye! Hello, this is day 2 in Japan and today we're going to, I think, Harajuku to eat some crepes, and we're also going to be exploring a park there. It is November 16th and we've just gotten back from a big day walking around once again. So today we visited Harajuku. If you want to see our adventures, I'm making separate travel vlogs as well because I think my reading vlog is going to be a bit of a bust. But anyway, I've read about 30 pages of Skyward and I'm really liking it, but whenever we get back we're really tired, so I don't really read before bed, and obviously during the day we're out and about, and I don't really get a chance to listen to audiobooks while I'm out and about either, because we've kind of got to focus on whether we're getting off at the right station because everything is either in Japanese and a little bit of English, so it's easy to miss things. But so far we're figuring it out, we're doing pretty well actually. So tonight we're going out for dinner. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment. We're going to be catching up with some friends, but before that, day Dave has gone for a run and I am here to just chill out before we go out again later. So I thought I'd get some reading done in the time that I'm just chilling out here. It is the first day of Tome Topple and I have made zero progress so far. I'm still about 50% or 57% through The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan, which I listened to on the flight over here. And as I said before, I'm 30 pages into Skyward. So The Dark Prophecy doesn't really count towards Tome Topple, but I'm reading it, so I thought I'd mention it anyway. And then Skyward is about 501 pages, so it just slips into the readathon. It is now Monday, November 19th, and it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning. We have just gotten back from a delicious breakfast and I wanted to drop in and update you because I have been filming for my travel vlogs, not my reading vlog. The reason I haven't really been filming obviously is because I've been crazy busy. Yesterday we went to Akihabara and we went to a maid cafe. Never again. If you're thinking of going, I wouldn't tell you don't go, but I'd also warn you that you're going to be very uncomfortable because we go there ironically, but people actually going there go there legitimately and it's a very weird feeling. So yes, that happened. As for reading though, I'm about 65% through The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan and I'm about 40 pages through Skyward. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to fail Tome Topple readathon this year after participating for a couple of years and winning all of them. I don't really mind if I fail because obviously Japan. So as for plans for today, we're going to Shibuya a little bit later because we were there last night to meet a few friends. We got some delicious Japanese bar food and then we went and sang at karaoke for like 3 hours and it didn't even feel like that long. It was amazing and just such an incredible experience. Yeah, so we didn't get back in last night until fairly late, so this morning was a relaxed breakfast and we're just going to chill out and then head to Shibuya at about midday and then hopefully go to some Pokemon centers, maybe a Pokemon cafe, and just kind of wander around there because I am very excited about going to Shibuya. Ever since playing the video game The World Ends With You, and that's set in Japan, I've just loved Shibuya from that. So I saw Shibuya Station last night and I was like, But anyway, as far as reading goes, I might get a little bit of Skyward read before we end up going out today. I've still got a shower and stuff and these are the same leggings that I wore in my last clip, so I need to do a little bit of a changeover. Do a bit of organising in my suitcase because you know how you dig through your suitcase when you're travelling and everything goes everywhere and it's a delightful time. Hopefully I can show you some Pokemon footage if we go to Pokemon centres and cafes today, but stay tuned and I will show you what happens. It's Thursday, November 22nd and it's about, well, it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning and we are just at our lovely Kyoto Airbnb. It's amazing and I love it so much. I actually surprisingly have a reading update for you because on the Shinkansen, the bullet train, on the way here, I actually finished the audiobook for The Dark Prophecy and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was pretty funny. I found it a little bit hard to connect with the characters because it's taken me so long to get onto book 2 that I wasn't as familiar with them from the past series and from book 1 of the Trials of Apollo series. but that's really the only negative thing I have to say about it, and that's entirely my fault. So it was a really good book. I gave it about a 4 out of 5 stars, and I do have The Burning Maze, but instead of starting that next, I started Malice by John Gwynne. I just know that that's a high fantasy adult book, and it has giants in it, I'm pretty sure. I've only just started it. I'm about 2% into the audiobook, which is like 23 hours long, so if I can actually finish that in the next 7 or 8 days, which is when Tome Topple finishes on November 29, then that's kind of going to be a miracle. So I'm really just hoping that I can finish at least one book for Tome Topple, because The Dark Prophecy didn't count. It did count towards my end of year 2018 TBR, but it didn't count towards my Tome Topple TBR, so I'm kicking goals either way. I don't really have an update for you for Skyward. I haven't really read much more of that. I'm about 50 to 60 pages through. I can't remember what I said it was at last I updated you. I am really liking it. I'm just obviously not getting much time to sit down and read a physical book while I'm here. I'm not even getting a chance to listen to an audiobook while I wander around the streets, because everything is so interesting. All you want to do is look around and explore, and I don't want to ruin that by listening to an audiobook and not having focus on where I am. So as for plans for today, we are going out to a tea ceremony for lunch, and that's going to be amazing because we get to wear our yukata and kimono there. And then for the rest of the day, I'm not really sure what we're doing. I mean, we're going out for breakfast, obviously. We haven't eaten yet. I think we're just exploring this afternoon. We went to the market yesterday in Kyoto, and hopefully I'll try and take some more footage of it because I'd love to show you. It was incredible. There was so much street food and so many people and so many different stalls. It was so cool. It's forecast rain today, so hopefully we don't get rained on too much. It was raining earlier this morning and I'm just looking out the window to check, but I can't see that it's raining anymore. So yeah, I better get going so I can brush my teeth and get ready. I've got my koi leggings on, which I found very fitting for Kyoto. So yeah. Hello, long time no speak. I have been absolutely flat chat, and this is the first time that I've been able to sit down in the past couple of days. I can't believe Tome Topple ends in 3 days and I've barely made any progress. I thought that was going to happen, but the reality of it happening makes me a little bit sad, but it is what it is. You can probably see the amazing view behind me. We have just got to Hiroshima, and it is, I was going to say Thursday, but it's a Monday, and it's the 26th of November. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Dave and Jordan, who I'm traveling with, they've just gone out to see the gate in the ocean. I am not a huge boat person. I opted out of going because I often get very sick on boats and that type of thing. I thought this would be a great opportunity to sit down and do a bit of reading of Skyward, and also to show you the background that I'm sitting in front of and update you on what I've been reading recently. So yesterday my Audible credit renewed for the month, and I ended up buying Magnus Chase and the Hammer of Thor, which I'm very excited about. Magnus Chase is one that I haven't loved as much as the Percy Jackson series, but a lot of people have told me that it grows with the second book, so I'm really looking forward to jumping into the audiobook of that when I actually have an attention span to listen to it, because even though I thought I'd be doing a lot of traveling and audiobook listening, it turns out that I focus on so much during the day that when I'm traveling I just kind of check out and get really sleepy and I don't get to focus very much. So that's part of the reason that when I'm talking about Malice, which is what I'm currently reading by John Gwynne, I was listening to it on the Shinkansen, the bullet train, on the way to Hiroshima today, and I got about 12% into it. I'm really liking it so far, but I just can't connect with it for some reason. I might have to pick up the physical book rather than the audiobook. I'm just not able to focus, like I said, which is really disappointing because I thought I would smash that out on this trip. But anyway, I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading of Skyward, and hopefully it's not too long until I next update you. Tome Topple does finish in the next couple of days, on the Thursday the 29th I believe, so I don't know how much I'm going to be reading in the next couple of days because we're doing a lot of jumping around in the last part of our trip, so we're doing a lot of jumping around in the lower half of Japan, and then we're flying a domestic flight all the way up to the top of Japan, and we're going to be staying just below Sapporo, which is the snow village, and we're going to be snowboarding there. So it's going to be a bit of a whirlwind end to our trip, to be honest. I don't think I'll get much reading in between the gaps, but of course I'll update you and let you know how I went. And I believe that I've been getting pieces of mail arrive at home because my sister is being amazing and updating me and saying, you got a package, you got a package. So I'm getting very antsy because I want to unbox all of the things, but I will definitely be doing that in a video coming up, so keep an eye out because I am very excited. But until next time, bye! I thought I'd drop in to give you another update because it has been a few days and Topple has now finished. It is December 1st and it's like 8 o'clock at night. After a very long delay, like 5 or 6 hours at the airport, we finally made it to Rizitsu up in Hokkaido, and we're staying at this lovely ski resort, and it's actually like we walked into Christmas. It's kind of insane, but in the best way. But while we were stuck at the airport for that time, I ended up finishing Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I loved this book. It was incredible. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And I was also listening to The Burning Maze by Rick Riordan. I can't remember if I updated you in my previous clip, but I actually finished the second book, The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan, and so I jumped straight into the third book. I gave the first book 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it, but I'm just not connecting to Apollo. I think I like the characters surrounding him rather than him himself. He seems to lack something and I can't quite put my finger on it, but the other characters in the series that Rick Riordan writes always have this get up and go that Apollo doesn't seem to have, and that's not really the right word either, but I can't figure out what he's missing that they've got. But I think that's the entire point. Apollo has been thrown out of Olympus to learn compassion, I guess, and not be selfish like he is as a god. So I get the entire story and the way his character is written, but it's just not something that I can connect with as a reader. I really like it regardless, and I think that Rick Riordan's books are hilarious, and I love all of the references and everything in them. I think they're awesome, which is why I continued on with The Burning Maze, and I ended up giving that 5 out of 5 stars. That and Skyward both made me cry in an airport. I loved both of them so much. In The Burning Maze, I got exactly what I wanted, which was a more emotional response, but in The Dark Prophecy, I ended up getting a little bit less of that, so it was kind of like a muted reaction to a book that I really wanted to love, but The Burning Maze completely renewed that for me, and like I said, I was crying. It was incredible. I laughed during it as well. It was just everything I wanted, and now I have to wait until 2019 for the next book, and I don't know if I can do that, which is why I then started Magnus Chase and the Hammer of Thor, which is the second book in the Magnus Chase series, and that follows Norse mythology rather than Greek or Roman mythology. I ended up giving the first book in that series about a 3 stars. I didn't really vibe with it that much, but I've heard from friends and just seen online that the second book and beyond gets even better. In addition to them getting better with the plot and the pace, I've heard that there's a lot more diversity in those books as well, which is something that I'm always loving, so I can't wait to continue reading it. I really like it so far, but it's not quite hooked me yet, I guess I could say. But anyway, I should circle back to Skyward because I didn't really talk about it. This follows the story of our main character Spencer, who is a hot-headed 16-year-old who wants to become a pilot, and she's basically built her entire resolve and foundation around her father's death. When her father was a pilot, he supposedly abandoned his fleet and was labelled a coward. So Spencer has had to fight that label her entire life and fight the shunning of her whole community. I don't want to get into spoilers because telling you the trajectory of this story kind of spoils the plot for you, so I'll try not to do that because I hate spoilers. But we basically follow Spencer as she kind of makes steps towards becoming possibly a pilot, and the fallout and the friendships she makes as a result. And there are so many characters in this that I loved. Even though at the beginning of this, it took me about 50 pages to kind of warm up to Spencer as a character, I found her very cranky and touchy and just very much an angry 16-year-old without a lot of depth. But I know I love Sanderson's books, so obviously I kept reading. And Sanderson does this thing where he sets everything up
and then you believe it, and then later on he goes, haha, that thing that you believed, that's not actually the thing that's true. And so he did that with Spencer's character. He made her really, I guess, petty and spiteful and angry, but as the story moved through, she grew a lot and she became more emotional and more attached to people and more grounded and more self-aware as well. And that's something that I really enjoyed. It didn't quite stick to that petty kind of core, it really expanded from that. Also, I thought that this was going to possibly lend some of the story to a pitting a girl against a girl kind of trope that makes them really catty against each other, but that really wasn't the case at all. It set it up that way potentially, and I was really worried at about 100 and 150 pages in that it might go that tangent, but it didn't. It really establishes the characters in this story as their own people with their own motivations and backgrounds, and the way they interact and form friendships is really awesome. So I would definitely recommend this book to anyone, even if you don't read YA. I really, really loved this. I want to film more videos about it, but if you can hear from my voice, I'm sick. I'm also in Japan. I don't know what my filming schedule is going to be like when I get back, so we'll see how I go. But if I don't film videos, or if I do, regardless, pick up this book because you will not regret it. Even if you don't like sci-fi, this is an awesome gateway kind of book because Sanderson lays it all out on the table for you and it's very easy to follow. So read this. Also, since I last updated you, you might notice that I'm reading Rick Riordan's audiobooks rather than Malice, which I feel like I talked about in the past, Malice by John Gwynne. That's like a 20-something hour audiobook and I just wasn't really connecting to the detail and the depth of it. I think I mentioned that on the Shinkansen, on the bullet trains, I was trying to listen to it, but I was just getting too sleepy and I couldn't focus because my focus was thrown out to Japan and to absorb as much as I can of the trip I'm on. So I didn't really connect with Malice as an audiobook, but I'm going to pick up the physical copy at some point instead and I'll read that in a physical form because I think I'll connect with that a lot more. I didn't expect it to be multiple perspective and it was. I thought it was just going to follow Cobb, one of the main characters. So that was a little bit disappointing for me in the audiobook, especially because it was just one narrator and it all kind of sounded the same when you're tired on the train. So I'll change the format of my consuming of that book and hopefully I'll like it a lot more because I will just change to the physical and hope for the best. But anyway, I think that's it for my reading update. You'll definitely notice from my voice that I'm sick. I caught a cold in Japan a few days ago. It is winter here, even though it's summer in Australia. So a lot of people here are wearing face masks. You might have seen that in some of my time lapses. I'm not sure if I captured it or not. Me wearing a face mask, that is. But yeah, so I've passed the cold on to Dave, which I feel really bad about because we're in Rizutsu right now to snowboard and there was snow, which is why our flight was delayed. So hopefully the next 3 to 4 days are going to be full of snowboarding rather than reading. I mean, I finished Skyward, which is my physical read anyway. I did post a TBR video that was my upcoming reads for the end of 2018 that I wanted to finish, and I don't have any of those with me. Only the Rick Riordan books, which I ended up finishing anyway. I'm getting very rambly in this clip, I'm sorry. I have sick scatterbrain. Tome Topple. I was participating in Tome Topple and that ended on the 29th of November and that was the time that I just decided to DNF Malice. So I failed this Tome Topple, but I finished Rick Riordan's books, which was my goal anyway outside the readathon. So did I fail? Yes. Did I win? Yes. But anyway, I'm not sure when I'll see you next, but I'll update you when I can and hopefully I'll show you some snowboarding footage because I learned how to snowboard in July and I'm hoping that my muscle memory is on point and I don't fall on my face in the snow. I am back in Australia. It is now December 7th and it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe. I'm still sick, which you can likely hear in my voice, but I just wanted to drop in and wrap up this reading vlog because obviously I'm back now, so there's not much more content in Japan for me to do. So first up for Tome Topple, I ended up finishing Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, and I kept saying that this is 501 pages long, but it's actually 513 pages long, I think. That could be also wrong. No, it's 513 pages long. So this definitely counted for Tome Topple, which is read the tomes on your TBR, and they're books over 500 pages, so I actually won Tome Topple and I thought I failed it, so that's a nice little encouragement for the end of this reading vlog. And then in my 2018 TBR video, I said that I would be reading these 2 books by Rick Riordan, The Dark Prophecy and The Burning Maze, books 2 and 3 in the Trials of Apollo series. I loved this series and I gave The Burning Maze 5 stars and I gave The Dark Prophecy, I think, a 4 stars or a 4.5. Can't wait to continue on with this series, and I'm kind of in love with these editions. The covers are so beautiful. And just in a similar vein to those 2, I started Magnus Chase and the Hammer of Thor on audiobook, and I listened to that kind of while I was travelling around and on the flight home, and so I'm about 58% through this one. Obviously I'm not going to finish it before this reading vlog ends because this is the last day, but I'm going to be continuing on with reading this and then hopefully picking up The Ship of the Dead as well, which is book 3 in this series, also probably on audiobook if that's the format I'm going with, but obviously I like collecting the hardcovers because they're so pretty. So yeah, these are the books that I read while I was overseas travelling Japan. I hope you loved the content that I filmed over there because I had an amazing trip and I can't wait to go back. I wish I didn't get sick over there, but what can you do really? But I would honestly love to go back and love to go snowboarding, maybe spend a week there because that kind of got cut short. We only got to snowboard for a day because we were both so sick, and by we I mean me and Dave. But yeah, so I think that's about it for the reading update. I did talk about Malice during this reading vlog and I've DNF'd it. I did like it though, so I'm going to continue on with the physical copies when I eventually pick them up. It's not like going to be an immediate purchase for me, but it will be something that I put on a wish list maybe for Christmas, which I probably won't receive any books for Christmas because my family's like, you have enough books. That is never the case. I'm also sitting here looking at my bed and I've got like 4 packages on my bed, so I can't wait to unbox those, and I've got a Fae crate for November and a Fairy Loot for November coming as well. So I thought they'd be here when I got back, but they're a little bit late. The shipping to Australia always takes so long, so I'm waiting for those, and then I'm going to film an unboxing video of all the mail that I got. And I got a few books prior to the book mail as well, so obviously they're going to already be opened, but I'll show those off as well. So I just can't wait to film more videos now that I'm back. I'm very excited. I hope I get over this cold really quickly. But yeah, I can't wait to chat to you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this reading vlog, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!